Today's video is brought to you by the Dark Phantom comic series. Stay tuned until the end to find out more. I was originally not going to make a video about the Pokimane drama going around the internet, as many of my points would be pretty repetitive since I just uploaded a video about Alinity. But an article on the website Wired made me feel the need to give my opinion on a few things. While I could rail on the blatant bias in this piece, painting Pokimane in a purely positive light, and making a blatant attempt to push YouTube to demonetize commentary channels, with the public's ever-decreasing trust in journalists, I think writers like these two are doing more than enough to dig a grave for their profession without my help. The point I wanted to focus in on was the author's claim that Twitch streamer Pokimane demonstrated how to expertly handle the internet drama industrial complex. I find it amazing that the bar has been set so low on how to handle drama on the internet that merely not having a mental breakdown on camera is enough for some to feel that you handled yourself with tact. So today I wanted to see if Pokimane has actually shown an expert understanding of how to deal with criticism on the World Wide Web. But before I get to that, let me briefly break down what people are going after her for. 1. People criticizing her look, sense of humor, personality, etc. 2. She strikes down content using her streams in a non-transformative way when her streams are filled with her showing other people's videos in a non-transformative way, aka hypocrisy. 3. She has struck down a video to silence criticism in the past. 4. There are men obsessed with her that donate their life savings to merely get a brief moment of her attention. And finally 5. She has gone after the sponsor of a creator for having an unflattering opinion of her and her fans. So let's look at how she handled each one of these claims, and then I could give my personal take on if she did a good job or not. Let's begin by looking at people criticizing her intrinsic characteristics. This includes a large range of haters, from those that say she's not funny and uninteresting on streams, to others that rate her looks. While people like to say that this is mean, if you are going to be a public figure where looks and personality play a big part in how you make your money, people giving their views on these subjects is inevitable. As an entertainer, when someone calls you ugly, fat, or unfunny, it's rarely ever a good idea to respond unless you're a comedian. Not everyone will like you, and you just have to accept that. And from what I can tell, Pokimane has done a decent job at not getting into feuds around these critics. But that can't be said for other streamers and fans that have taken the bait on her behalf for absolutely no reason. The best example of this is when Keemstar tweeted out, Pokimane, 2 out of 10, with no further explanation. It's obviously nothing more than well thought out bait to stir up attention, as people will project meaning onto the post that Keem never actually provided himself, putting the burden on the respondent to infer and say out loud negative things about Pokimane, even if for the purpose to defend her. The irony is the thousands of people that replied and criticized Keem actually amplified negative opinions about Pokimane by doing so when it could have just been ignored. Moving on to the second piece of criticism levied against her, we'll have to go back to the time she debated a man that made Fortnite compilation videos where he used her clips in a non-transformative way, which she took down for copyright infringement. The problem with this is often in her streams she sits around watching other people's videos without providing any commentary that would constitute her use being transformative in nature. This understandably led many to call her a hypocrite for taking down other people's content for doing the same thing that she does. The thing is, this isn't just a Pokimane problem, as in the aftermath of this criticism, it appears many other streamers hold the same opinion as her that they don't have to abide by the same rules of fair use as everyone else does. It's incredible the mental gymnastics seen from Twitch streamers to defend the practice of watching YouTube content without permission in a non-transformative fashion. None of their excuses ever address the fact that what they're doing is copyright infringement, and I'd say that that's probably because they don't have a case. But since no one has complained up until now, they've been getting away with it. Most of these large streamers have companies' content ID claiming YouTubers for using their clips, so it's unfair to call out just Pokimane for this practice. Many claim this is blatant hypocrisy, and Pokimane getting into an argument with this guy brought the greater online community's attention to the problem. With this round of criticism, I think Pokimane became the catalyst YouTubers needed to take notice of streamers making money by just sitting around watching their videos, and I believe the era of getting away with this practice on Twitch will soon be over. If a big streamer has watched a YouTuber's video in a blatantly non-transformative manner, it would be very easy for them to get a lawyer to send a request just to be compensated for using the clip without permission. With how cut and dry many of these copyright abuse cases are, creators might even be able to find a lawyer that will work on a contingency fee, so they wouldn't even have to pay them until they get the money. But to be clear, I'm not a lawyer, and it's something that YouTubers have to look into. So Pokimane had just avoided berating this Fortnite clip channel on stream, and instead just quietly struck down his videos without telling anyone, she would have avoided this drama, so I'd argue she handled it poorly by clashing with him publicly in the first place. While we're on the subject of striking down videos, let's talk a bit about Boblax. To put it simply, the relatively small YouTuber uploaded a video reporting on some drama Pokimane had found herself in, where she had made the choice of getting into a fight with Keemstar, which in and of itself is a poor move when you're trying to handle drama, but I digress. When trying to avoid the controversy from lingering, she struck down Boblax's video. As always, trying to censor the information from spreading exacerbated the problem, as now people were calling her out for taking down the video, including the likes of PewDiePie. On the Misfits podcast, she revealed her frustration because people had not accepted her admission of guilt.
But I was like, maybe if we kill this, because Keem had deleted his tweets already. And I was like, I just want this whole drama to be over. Yeah. And I made not the right call, in hindsight, to have that video removed.
The thing that I feel she doesn't understand is just because you say you're sorry doesn't mean there's a specific timer for when people will get over it. And whether or not that's fair, some people will never forgive you at all. Pokimane fell into the trap of getting into a petty feud with a man that thrives on drama, then created community backlash when she tried to suppress the story. Both of these were very poor choices from a PR perspective. In other words, she didn't expertly handle the internet drama industrial complex. Next, let's jump into the simp problem. As most of you already know, any at least semi-attractive female streamer on Twitch is bound to have men that fall in love with them and form a parasocial relationship. This often leads them to dump all of their money into donations just to get a brief moment of acknowledgement from the woman on the monitor. While Pokimane doesn't go out of her way to draw these men in like some other women on the site, she still has a lot of viewers that fall into this camp, and has no problem taking their money, with some reporting that one of these men literally became homeless because he gave every last cent he had to her. On its own, you really can't blame Pokimane for fans donating all their money to her. They're adults and are allowed to make destructive life choices, so it would have been best for her to just ignore this criticism. Unfortunately, that's not what she did. Instead, she made the very terrible decision of doing a live stream where she watched a video by It's a Gundam that was critical of her and her fans.
And I'm gonna be honest, I think the only way people like this stop is if people like me and my community give them feedback that this is not an okay thing to do. Not attack them, but I hit a little dislike and I say, this not cool. That's how YouTubers work. If they're not gonna work off of morals, they're gonna work off of dislikes and comments and whatever. To be fair, I actually can't believe anyone would sponsor these shenanigans. And I will say, for this company to sponsor a video that's literally 20 minutes of talking shit about me,
not only did she have nothing to gain from responding to this line of ridicule, but the fact that she gave unfiltered takes on a live stream while irritated was a recipe for disaster. As I say time and time again, if a creator must respond to criticism, they should do it in a well laid out statement or video that has been reviewed by others. Going on a tangent without the ability to take back any of the things you say before publishing is a horrendous move, and that is what happened here. Compared to Pokimane, Gundam was just a small creator when this all went down, with relatively few people taking note of his video. But when she actively encouraged her fan base to go after his sponsor, it turned him into a martyr. Add this to all the other criticism, and now there is a movement to take her down. To think if she didn't strike down Boblax's upload and ignored the videos making fun of her fans, she wouldn't be in the spot she's in now. While it's true she hasn't had a mental breakdown on stream, yet, I don't think how she handled drama has been as exemplary as the journalists over at Wired would have you believe. She may only be human, but when you're famous, you need to be a bit more calculating when handling issues such as ones mentioned in this video. In conclusion, I don't think Pokimane's a terrible person, nor do I think she's a victim either. She's a famous multimillionaire with a large fan base, and just like anyone else in that privileged position, she's going to have critics. If she continues to engage with them, the videos about her will continue, but if she just focuses on her main audience, the drama will subside. Today's sponsor is a bit unusual because it's actually a shout out for my writer Class Act Jack's comic book series. You probably know Jack best for helping me co-write the Bashverse Conspiracy, and now he's out with The Dark Phantom, a superhero crime noir story that follows Rob Lancaster, a man trying to find out what it truly means to do good in a city ruled by corruption. This series took a whole 10 years to be released, and it's partially inspired by classics such as Frank Miller's Daredevil and Batman the Animated Series. If you click on the links in the description down below, issues 1 through 5 are available on Comixology and Gumroad.com. If you've never bought a digital comic before, now might be the best time to start, as Amazon accounts can be easily linked to Comixology for streamlined payment. Again, the link is in the description down below to check out Dark Phantom for yourself.